All right. Welcome this morning to chair yoga, gentle stretching. My name is Jena and I'm here with the JCC. All you're going to need this morning is a chair and a water bottle if you get a little thirsty. And I prefer or suggest that you take your shoes and your socks off because I like to do a little bit of toe and ankle mobilization and feet mobilization while we're working on some of these postures. Okay, so let's go ahead and just start with your hips to the back side of your chair here. Back side of your chair, and relax those feet onto the ground. Now, if your feet do not quite touch the ground, it's really important that you go find a couple books or something like that, or a little step stool to make sure your feet are grounded and they're not hanging off of your chair and straining your back and your hip. But let's relax those feet into the ground and relax your entire upper back, lower back, and back of the arms kind of resting into your chair back. And let's take a moment here to work on our breathing and just taking some notice of how your breath is without trying to change anything at this particular point. And you can choose to go ahead and take a gaze into a spot in your room where you can just focus gently. You can choose to close your eyelids at this point. Again, focusing in on that breath. Let's start to take that inhale together through our nose and exhaling slowly through the mouth, relaxing the jaw as you release that air. Inhaling again through the nose and exhaling slowly through your mouth. Take notice today of any area of your body that might be feeling some pain or discomfort, or maybe just general tension. Maybe it's your shoulders or your neck. Perhaps it's your wrists. Perhaps it's your hands. Maybe it's your feet or your ankles. And every time you exhale here at the beginning of class, I want you to release that tension with your exhale and just try to let it go. Inhaling with the nose, expanding the rib cage and bringing in some pure energy into your body, and exhale that tension, breathing out into those spots that you feel any tension or strain this morning. As you continue your breath, we're going to slowly let those arms start to rest and hang at our side. And you can choose to take those eyes open if you were having the eyelids closed. You're still relaxing into your chair. We're going to reach out and up with one arm until you feel as though your arm does not want to go anymore. Try to avoid shrugging to bring it up higher. Just bring that arm up to where it wants to stop, and then bring the hand down to the shoulder, leading with the elbow back to the side of the body, and then the wrist falls down. Let's do that on that other side. So straight arm is reaching out and up without forcing anything here, bringing that hand to the shoulder top, elbow comes down to the side of the body, and then just release that wrist back down. Let's go back to that other side. Inhaling on the upward motion and taking your time and controlling that exhale all the way down. Elbow drops, wrist comes down. Inhaling up. Exhaling, hand to the shoulder, elbow down, and release. Let's try both arms, reaching out to the sides of the room here. Inhaling. Exhaling, fingertips to the shoulder. Upper back should be against your chair. Continue your exhale as you open everything up. One more time. Inhale up. Shoulder blades are heavy. Exhaling slow and controlled as you continue to drop those arms down by your side. Good. We're going to go ahead and take the focus into our neck. Let those arms still relax at your side. And we're just going to turn our head one way so that the chin looks over that shoulder. Slowly rotate and go the other way, and just bring awareness into which side is a little bit tighter than the other here. Continue to rotate that head side to side. We're going to pause in the center, and you're going to bring your ear to your shoulder this time. Again, taking some awareness. It is time for you to just pay attention to what's happening in the body, where your body is tight. You want to exhale that breath into those areas. And bringing that head back into neutral. We're going to go ahead and follow with another neck motion, side to side, in some gentle half circles. Just going from left to right, bringing the ear to the same shoulder, chin towards the chest, ear to the same shoulder on the other side. Back and forth. Good. I cannot hear my music, so if it still is a little bit too loud, let me know. I tried to turn it down from my end. I can always just turn it off. Side to side. And let's bring everything back into neutral. You're bringing one arm up towards the ceiling again, following with the other, and I want you to grab down mid forearm, maybe to your wrist if that feels comfortable. And you're going to pull with that arm and reach over to the other side of the room, really opening up through the side of the lats here, the rib cage, gently pulling with that other arm and using the weight of that arm, and relax that head to get your body to come over to the side of the room. Reaching up towards the ceiling. Let's exhale and press those arms away. Inhale again, up with both arms, reaching over and grabbing the opposite arm. Same thing on the other side. Reach that up and over. Think about lengthening up and out of your pelvis area and let that head drop. Hold this for an inhale here. And exhale, pressing those arms down and away. Good. We're going to go ahead and take that attention down to our legs for now. We're working on just extending one knee, contracting that thigh muscle and holding that leg out there, and starting with some really big circles, intentionally taking up as much space as you can with those toes. Good. Good. Big circle here in one direction, and see if you can clench those toes as you go down and then spread them apart as you come up towards the ceiling with those toes. So get some motion in the entire foot, working those muscles on the bottom of your foot just as much as the top. Now pause, and we're going to go the opposite direction, still clasping and gripping with those toes on the way down, spreading those toes apart as you come up and around towards the ceiling. And let's focus in on that breath. You're inhaling for one circle, exhaling for the next circle. Continue to keep that knee straight, and we're just going to work on pulling the toes towards the shin, dorsiflexing, and then pushing the foot down towards the floor, plantar flexing. So coming up, spreading the toes, gripping with the toes, and pointing down towards the floor. Spreading those toes, using those muscles on the top of the foot and the front of the lower leg, pointing, using the muscles in the back of the lower leg and the bottom of the foot. One more time. Pull up and press down with your breath and relax that leg onto the ground. And let's take that focus onto the other side, extending through that knee, really contracting through those thigh muscles, starting to make a big circle in one direction, taking your time to try to get as much mobility out of that ankle as you possibly can, using the strength of those lower leg muscles. And breathe. Spreading those toes as you open up to the ceiling and gripping the toes as you go down. Let's pause and reverse your direction, circling around. Again, today is about slowing down and creating intentional movements, releasing tension, awareness of where our mobility and our strength and control really is in our body, not relying on the momentum of the motion. Now let's pause here and just turn the toes up towards your shin and the ceiling, spreading them out, and then let's grip and point those toes using the muscles in the back of the lower leg and the foot. Coming up and spreading again and gripping and pointing that foot. One more time, pulling up, using that breath and pressing down towards the floor. Good, and place that foot onto the ground. We're going to ground those feet, and I want us to walk our hips slightly forward into our chair here. So we're going to stay in a seated posture for now. Feet or ankles right underneath our knees, shoulders over our hips. And we're going to play around with our pelvis a little bit here. So we're going to actually tilt our pelvis forward, and we're going to draw our shoulder blades to the back of our chair, working on a seated back extension here, or cow pose. And we're going into our cat, where we round over and we tilt the pelvis back, tucking the tailbone under, contracting with those muscles in the back of the upper thigh, and bringing and hollowing out our chest. Our chin goes towards our chest bone, shoulders round forward. Let's reverse that again, arching that back into cow, pelvis goes forward, shoulder blades open up to the back of your chair, and then exhale, rounding forward. Really press into the ground as you round forward. And let's extend again. Open up, exhale, rounding forward. Inhale, open up. And exhale, round it forward. One more time. Exaggerate. Inhale, drive the pelvis forward, shoulder blades back. See if you can get those elbows to go behind you as well. And then exhale, reaching the fingertips a little bit further out in front of the knees as you hollow out that core. And let's bring everything back into neutral. We're going to do a seated forward fold. So let's bring those feet and those knees together. Inhaling up to a nice extension towards the ceiling. And you're going to reach towards the wall in front of you, bringing your rib cage and your chest towards your thighs, and let your body fold forward. And again, chin goes to your chest. Hold this for an inhale. And as you exhale, you're pressing your feet into the ground and you're rolling up, stacking one vertebra on top of the other until you're in that full seated position. Let's do that again. Inhale up, reaching high to the ceiling, getting as much lengthening as you can through the rib cage. Exhale as you reach it out forward. Follow that gaze to the floor. Arms relax down at the side of your legs, chin to chest, head drops down. Inhale to hold. And exhale, roll it up, press those feet into the ground, stacking one vertebra at a time. And once again, inhale, hold this one at the top. As you exhale, we're going into a seated extension, taking that gaze gently towards the ceiling, expanding through your chest and opening up through the ribs. On your next exhale, let's go ahead and bring that forward once again to that seated forward fold posture, letting those arms relax at the side of the body, chin to chest. Inhale to hold. And once again, press the feet firmly into the ground as you roll up one vertebra at a time. Good. And we're going to go ahead and turn our legs to the side of our chair. Okay. So if you do not have a chair, hopefully you have a chair without arms on it, which would be absolutely ideal because when we do seated postures, we want to have that opening. If you don't, you're just going to have to leave your legs here and you'll turn towards the chair arm itself. Otherwise, if you turn towards the side of your chair and you leave a little space between you and your chair back, so just kind of scooch over till the outside of the thigh rests or is in line with the outside of the front of your chair. We're going to rotate around, bringing our hands to our chair back, grabbing onto your chair uprights, and see if as you exhale, you can kind of pull with one hand, push with the other, lengthen through the spine as you take your gaze towards the side of that room. Check your knees. One is going to want to come behind the other. See if you can keep those knees aligned as if they're up against a wall. Continue to work on your breathing here, massaging your organs with your nice broad inhale, expanding the rib cage. And exhale, drawing that navel in towards the spine and releasing any tension. Maybe you're able to go a little bit deeper into your spinal twist here. Inhale once again. And exhale, last time. Release that tension. Let's bring everything towards the front. So we're going to stay in this side position, but we're going to scooch out a little further on our chair. So this outside hip is no longer on the chair, just the hip that's closest to your chair back. And you're going to use your chair bottom or chair top and chair bottom, whatever feels comfortable for you. And you might have to walk your leg around, or if you're able to, you're just going to bend the knee and drop that knee right underneath your hip here. So again, some of us may have to lean and kind of walk around to get that leg there, and then we rotate the hip forward and drive that knee underneath. Now you can choose to have the top of your foot pressing into the ground, or you might want to choose to work on that toe foot mobility by tucking the toes under and pressing down into the ground with the toes. So play around with that and see what feels best for you today, or you can kind of go back and forth. But we're trying to get that back knee to just drop underneath our hip here. Okay, and then check out this front knee because it probably wanted to come in towards your midline. Just make sure it's coming straight out from your hip. The ankle is underneath your foot. So you're hanging on to your chair bottom or your chair top, whatever is comfortable here. We're going to take the arm of the back leg and we're going to reach out and up with an inhale. Just holding into a nice straight posture here, upright, no hyperextension in the hip or the back yet. Inhaling to hold here. As you exhale, you're going to reach over towards your chair back. So we're opening up even more, doing that side bend. Inhale to hold. Exhale, let's come up, bringing that arm down. We're going to bring that rib cage towards your front thigh and start to walk that back foot behind you and tuck the toes under now at this point and really press through that entire leg, pushing that heel back. You're using your chair for a lot of support here, but you're still pressing down with your entire front leg firmly, as if you're trying to move away from the chair, but you're not going to move away. So we're leaning forward here. You can continue to have your hand on the chair seat or bring it to your thigh. That back arm, the arm of the back leg, is going to sweep up again and go into a little bit of a hyperextension into your crescent pose. So inhale here. Exhale, let's bring it forward. Hands onto your chair. And then bring that back knee underneath the hip and start to walk it forward, or maybe you have to walk it around and forward. We're going to bring our body to the other side of our chair. Good. Scooching to where that thigh is lined up with the front side of your chair seat. Inhale here. And as you exhale, you're going to rotate towards your chair back and just give it a little push with your back arm, pull with your front arm, and breathe through this. Check your knee alignment. Make sure that one knee is not out in front of the other. Inhale here. And another exhale. Maybe you're able to sit a little taller and go through your gentle rotation in your spine a little further. On your next exhale, we're going to bring everything back to the direction our toes are pointing. We're going to walk out so that that hip, that pelvis is off of the chair and the other leg is, or the other thigh is still grounded in your chair. Whatever feels best for you to hang on. And again, whatever way you want to bring your leg back so that knee falls underneath your hip. Toe can be tucked under or the top of your foot pressing into the ground here. Continue to work on your slow and controlled breathing here as you hold this posture. We're going to take the arm of the leg that's down towards the ground. We're going to exhale and reach that arm up. Hold it for an inhale. And exhale, bring it down. Inhale again up. And exhale, reach it over to the side, towards the back of your chair, and breathe. Inhale to hold, and then exhale to bring it back up and down. Supporting with the hands here or one on your chair back. You're going to lean that chest forward and you're going to extend the back leg, tucking the toes underneath and really pressing firmly through that leg, getting into a nice hip extension. You're still pressing down into the ground with this front leg. We still have a nice, strong, straight posture. Inhaling here. Pressing up gently into a hyperextension. Inhale to hold. Exhale, reach with the arm of the back leg towards the ceiling, taking a gentle gaze towards the ceiling, pressing firmly through your legs. On your next exhale, you'll come forward. And again, you can just let that knee drop underneath the back hip or walk it around, bring everything through, and let's turn back to the front facing. Let's take a couple refreshing breaths here, inhaling up and exhale, pressing those palms together to heart center. Inhaling up again and pressing to heart center. Once again, inhale up. Exhale, we're stopping at heart center. Inhale to hold. As you exhale, you're hinging forward at your hip with the straight back. You're going to add a gentle rotation, bringing that opposite elbow towards the opposite thigh. Inhale to hold here. And as you exhale, you press down gently with that top hand into the bottom hand. Again, twisting a little bit through this bounded, seated, modified seated chair pose. Continue to breathe. And if you can, experiment and see if you can open up those hands and take that top shoulder and open it up a little bit further to the back of the room. Inhale again. And when you're ready, those palms will come back together. If you chose to take them apart, everything will come back to the center and we'll sit back up with a good posture. Inhale all the way up. Exhale, pressing those palms together, stopping at heart center. Inhale to hold. Coming forward with our core, rotating to the opposite side with the opposite elbow, gently pressing with this top arm to bring that shoulder over the bottom shoulder. Inhale here. If you choose to on your exhale, you're going to open up the arms, opening up that back shoulder just a little further. Inhale again. Exhale, pressing those palms together and coming back into the center, sitting up nice and tall. Inhale up. And this time, exhale, press those palms away. Thumbs are to the front of the room. And bring everything down. We're going to make our way to a standing position by our chair, just working on a little bit of balance and stability into a standing mountain pose. Okay, turning it into a tree pose. So if you need your chair for balance, by all means, you can hang on to your chair. The goal on this one is to eventually take the hand away from the chair and progress and build into that. So to start with, we want to really put our energy into the side that's closest to your chair. And I want you to think about grounding that side of your body. You're going to come up onto the tippy toe of your outside leg and just open up that knee to wherever the hip allows it to go. Try not to force anything here. And again, check that you did not sink into your hip as you took the weight off of this outside leg. Make sure that you are still grounded and you're contracting the thigh muscles, you're contracting the back of the hip, the glute muscles, and you're really pulling in that core nice and strong. You've got your chair for stability. So as your knee is out to the side, your tippy toes can stay on the ground with your heel resting on your lower leg. Or you can work on challenging that balance a little bit and bring the bottom of your foot to the inside of the lower leg. Or maybe you're able to come up a little bit higher. So play around what feels good for you today and challenges your balance. From here, you can choose to keep that hand on your chair or float those hands away from the side, turning this into more of a tree pose. So again, we're avoiding sinking into that hip. We're really strong through that base side. And if you're comfortable, you can continue to take that one arm away from that midline, spreading out the hands, spreading out the branches of your tree, or you can take the other arm as well, working on this balance and stability. Anywhere you feel comfortable with your toe here. Work on that inhale and slow and controlled exhale. When you're ready, those hands can come down by your side again, grabbing onto your chair if you chose to float that arm away, turning that knee to the front of the room and just placing that foot down. You can walk to the other side of your chair or move your chair, whatever space you have. Again, it's here for your balance. We're really concentrating on this side closest to the chair again, getting strong through that hip. Okay. And then we float to our tippy toes without sinking into the pelvis. So your pelvis should still feel as though you're putting the same amount of weight on both feet because you're strong through this side. Chair for balance. You're going to open up that knee to the side of the room, wherever that feels comfortable, without letting your pelvis go with it. So it's just happening in that hip socket. Slide the tippy toes up so that they come away from the ground if that feels good for you today, or maybe even a little bit higher. Again, check this hip. Very easy to sit into it and just sink and strain all those ligaments on the outside of our hip. Strengthen through the inner thigh, strengthen through the glutes, and hold your posture well. Outside arm can start to float away. Wherever you feel challenged, the other arm as well. This is where you get to play around with what feels unstable for you. The challenge is to create that unstable environment. Slow and controlled. The quicker you move your arms up there, something is going to shift and compensate. So make sure that that lift is slow and controlled so you can stop when you're feeling unstable. Breathe. This is where we build that stamina, and all of those stabilizers, they're going to want to sink. When you're ready, slowly float those arms down. If you chose to move them away from your side, bring that knee towards the front of the room and gently press that foot back into the ground. Let's take both hands away from the chair, turning those palms forward. We're going to work on a mountain pose. You have your chair here if you need it for stability. In fact, sometimes in my chair yoga classes, I'll have people walk around so that their buns are right up against their chair and you can ground those feet, and then you feel a little bit more stable. Now, we're not leaning into our chair or it's going to move away from us. We're just working on feeling comfortable standing tall with an imaginary wall behind us. So keeping the palms forward, you're thinking about pulling the shoulders away from each other and pinning them to your wall behind you. And then that chin is going to come back, ears over the shoulders. Again, whatever direction you want to face, forward, or bring your hips to the back of your chair. Inhaling and exhaling. Now, if you feel comfortable here, we're going to really bring some awareness into our brain and our nervous system. And you can try to gently close your eyes here. Continue to work on your breath. You have your chair to hang on to if you need it. Or you have your hips just resting so you know that you're secure and you're just standing. If you find your body starting to sway around and move at this particular point, this would be a great exercise for you to work on up against the wall until you can move away and stand in this good mountain pose without opening your eyes and without the body moving for at least 30 seconds to a minute. If you chose to close your eyes and challenge the balance, you can now slowly open them up and then relax those arms into whatever natural position they want to go into. All right. So we're going to face our chair and again, use our chair for a little balance. I'm just going to pull my pant leg up so you can see what's happening with my ankle. So I want to do a little footwork here today in our class. So we're going to come up nice and close to our chair back, and you're going to choose one leg to go behind you. And I want the tops of your toes to push into the ground. Okay. Now, of course, this is an area that many, many people neglect and do not put enough attention and just priority into, right? But the feet are so important for us. So we want to think about pushing the tops of the toes into the ground. So we're not only lengthening the front of the foot, but we're actually strengthening the front of the foot and the ankle by resisting into the ground a little bit. Good. We're going to reverse that, and we're going to take the bottoms of the toes and we're going to press the bottoms of the toes, spreading them out, and you're pushing the base of each toe into the ground while you keep your heel lifted strong. If you have a lot of calcification or a bunion in that first toe joint or any of your toe joints, this isn't going to feel comfortable, but the more you do this, you'll start to break through some of that calcification and start to gain a little bit of mobility, or at least less tightness and tension in those muscles. So let's continue on that same foot. You're going to bend your other knee and you're going to press that heel down into the ground. Walk forward with the front leg if you need to get a little bit more stability. And as you press this heel down, we're going to go in opening up the shoulders over the hips, driving the hips gently forward, really contracting through this entire base back leg here. And breathe through this. We're going to come out of this the same way we got into it. So we're going to lift through the heel, and then we're going to drive our ankle and our knee forward to put that pressure onto the base of those toes. We're going to shift our weight forward and take the top of our foot and press it one more time gently into the floor. Good. Now, after doing all of that, your foot might want to adjust. So let's go ahead and just wiggle it around. Just shake it out and let that foot move around. It's a great exercise to do sitting on the edge of your tub and just kicking that water around and strengthening the ankle. So let's go ahead and move to that other side, bringing that foot behind you, taking the tops of the toes into the ground. Now, if you have weak arches, the bottoms of your feet are weak, your foot might start to cramp. That's okay. Try to let it cramp and work through that, breathe through that. Or if you absolutely cannot handle it, you can kind of lengthen that back lower leg out. Probably should have told you that on the first side. My foot's cramping, right? Not necessarily, it doesn't always happen because we have weak muscles. It can also happen because a lot of different reasons, imbalance and some nutritional things. My feet are really fatigued today from running yesterday. So usually on Tuesdays, I have to work on my feet quite a bit. Breathe through this, pressing the top of your foot into the ground. And now we're going to change that concentration. We're going to go ahead and tuck the toes under, right, while we keep that heel up, pressing the ball of the foot or the base of each toe joint into the ground while you keep that heel lifted. It's as if it's up against the wall, right? We're trying to get that ankle as straight as we can, but the toes flexed. We're going to go ahead and bend that front leg, and then we're going to drive the heel of the back leg into the ground. If you need to lengthen it a little bit to feel a little bit more of a stretch, you can do so. Okay. From here, let's just push gently away from our chair. Hold this for a big inhale. And on our exhale, we're going to go out of it the same way. Continue that breath. You're lifting through the heel, driving the ankle and that back knee forward, but still pressing down through the base of those toes. On your next move, you just go ahead and bring the tops of the toes to the floor, pressing that front of the ankle and the foot towards the ground. Good. Bringing that foot forward, staying close to your chair. Take a refreshing inhale here. And exhale, release those arms to the side of your body. See if you can get those fingertips to touch behind your hips, interlace, And then maybe even the palms will draw together as your shoulder blades slide together. Hold this for an inhale. And on your exhale, start to draw your rib cage and your navel in towards your spine, contracting those muscles in the front side of your trunk. Inhale again, expanding the rib cage. And exhale and release those arms. Good. All right. So we ended in a standing posture. I'm going to stop recording here.